evening, and thank you to the City Commission, City of Bloomfield Hills Commission meeting, City Commission meeting for August 11th, 2026. The first item on the agenda is on the order is to pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the second agenda item is Chief King will introduce the newest public safety officer. Is that right? Is he here or no?
He was unable to make it, ma'am, and we just got notice of that. I apologize.
Okay, that's okay.
Yep.
We'll do it next time.
Commission meeting.
Okay, we're fine. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, I had a couple, and Sandra just clarified them. Thrilled to hear that her ClearGov app, or the whole new software, is working wonderfully and gonna come up to speed, but that was the 14,000 she's using for the budget, which is terrific, but you're happy with that. And I inquired about the Trowbridge chip seal expenses, 187 and another 37, and she just clarified that 69 of the 77 that we approved, the extra money for the Trowbridge. So we're on track for the what was budgeted, correct, Sandra?
Yes.
Okay, but there are concerns about future maintenance, and there are concerns about how the third layer will hold up to all the construction heavy traffic, and I think it's something we need to address.
Okay. So,
So
do you want to do,
is that something we talk about now?
do we talk about that now, or no, are we just allowed to? I agree with your point. I
Or
think we
other
need to
business.
budget for, or would that be another business? Probably other business? We can put on other business.
Are you asking me? Okay, this is the consent agenda, so I guess the appropriate action would be to remove it from the consent agenda and put it, maybe inserted it as 3E,
3E?
or at the end of the meeting, whenever you want to put it in there.
Yeah, we'll do it at the end of the meeting. Is that
Sure.
okay?
Sure.
Is that possible? Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Ackerman?
Nothing else?
Nothing.
I had just a couple things. Chief King. So, the Trowbridge homeowners, Chief King, you met with the Trowbridge Homeowners Association to discuss ongoing wildlife. Is that my favorite topic, coyotes?
No, it was deer and groundhogs.
Okay, interesting, okay. And then I'm actually doing this in a public meeting and making this statement, and I'd like you to help with this, is the comment that you have on here about the solicitor who was on Lone Pine at 9:50 at night.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but I think it should be, is we do not allow solicitation unless it's a religious affiliation, if I'm correct, you can tell me. And then also, or if they come in and get a permit. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, we've run into this. There was an incident in my neighborhood where two people were there on a Friday night at 6:30, going door to door, selling life insurance. So
I had a door-to-door as well,
did you?
yes.
So, I know it's always good if we get those, and I would remind residents, please call the police. Just tell them to come and check on them to see if they do have a permit or not. When they come to my door, I literally ask them if they have a permit, and then I tell them we don't have it. So to me, going door to door at 9:50 at night is a little bit too late. So,
In that instance, ma'am, he was cited for soliciting without a permit earlier in the day.
mhm.
Told to leave, we sat by and arranged for him to be picked up and transported
Uh-huh.
to a city where he actually had a permit. So he was familiar with the permit
Okay,
process.
so he was familiar with it. Okay.
And then he came back again soliciting later that night, and that's when we made a custodial arrest.
Good to know. Okay, thank you. So Jamie, the Chesterfield culvert,
Yes.
mid-August, is that a couple weeks away?
They were paving the base last week, and we're getting very close to finishing the project.
Okay, so payment-wise, are we
We're under the grant amount.
under the grant amount? All right, we did it. Okay, thank you very much. All right, if nobody has any other questions, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll do that under other business later. Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda, recognition of citizens in the audience. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, and it's also not something that is on the agenda. Do we have any citizens in the audience? Okay, with that, next one, next agenda item, the commission will discuss current property maintenance standards.
Mayor, if I may, just to start the discussion, is that at your direction and the commission's direction, we took a hard look at the question you raised in July, whether our approach to property maintenance is serving this community well, or whether we should go further. And I did quite a lengthy study on this, and I won't get into all that, but I can give you some high points of it. What we essentially did is compared ourselves to Birmingham, Bloomfield Township, West Bloomfield, and the 5 Grosse Points. We looked at everything from building exteriors, roofs, paint, porches, site conditions, pools, vehicles, vacant homes, vegetation. On nearly every measure, we match or exceed our peers. We have a 7-inch vegetation standard that's stricter than most of the communities. One was at 6 inches, but most allow 8 inches. Only Grosse Pointe had the stricter at 6. We enforce the complete International Property Maintenance Code. Our vacant property ordinance is the strongest we've found anywhere in the comparison. And we enforce proactively with our one code enforcement officer. Just to kind of give you an idea what the concern is in the city is that John provided a report to me that he had 22 complaints of property maintenance in 2025 and only 15 so far in 2022. So in most, probably 95% of the cases, John's been able to go through our process of just talking to folks and getting it remedied. So we believe that process works pretty well. Tonight, right now, there's only 3 properties that have, out of roughly 1,600, that have open enforcement actions less than 0.2%. Our vacant home inventory is small, and most of it consists of homes that are maintained on the market and undergoing redevelopment. One property that required extraordinary measures, the vacant home on Pine Gate, went through the courts, and it showed the process has teeth. The property is being brought into compliance, and every dollar of that work lands on the owner, and if unpaid, it goes on the tax roll. Commissioner Fisher had brought up some good points about other communities, one in particular, Lake Forest. Lake Forest is in Illinois, and she was right that Lake Forest does have a minimum landscape standard. And we reviewed that ordinance directly. It requires 2 shrubs at least 36 inches in height for every 10 feet of foundation facing the front of the home or the side of the home. That requirement applies only to new buildings. It's one piece of a full design system that they have, and they have a review board that examines the architecture and site plan of every new home, and they have a special charter in Illinois that allows this. They have more than 19,000 residents and a dedicated plan review staff. No community in Michigan had that sort of approach to new homes that we could find. And here's a practical reason. I think new homes in Bloomfield Hills are state scale projects that routinely installs landscaping worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and every one of them would exceed the Lake Forest minimum many times over. A standard like that would regulate the properties least likely to need it, I think, and leave the untouched properties that prompted this question. So Mayor McCarthy in particular asked a specific question. It's a fair question, is that if a current owner removes shrubs, should they be required to replace them? We have several homes, about 3 homes actually, or maybe more, and Johnny can talk to that maybe in a few minutes, but that have removed shrubbing in front of their house. And it doesn't look great. It doesn't look to the standard of Bloomfield Hills. They cut their lawn to our ordinance, and they trim bushes, and sometimes they remove bushes, and to the mayor's point, it doesn't look good. Just doesn't look as well, as good as all the other homes in the city, and in particular, all the homes that I just talked about that are spending a lot of money making their homes beautiful in the city. We did find one gap in our ordinances that we could fill in, and maybe 2 gaps. One would be we can make sure that anything that's removed from a current property, like grass or bushes, that if it causes any sort of erosion issue or dust or dirt, we can make sure that that property is covered. Another thing too is that I think we could take a look at what we did with 36 Pine Gate and maybe establish some ordinance standards that might add to what we're doing and not just, so what with 32 Pine Gate, or 36 Pine Gate, we had to go to, we had to bring this case in front of the 48th District Court. We got a court order in action where the property is under a property management company. And there's a landscape company right now cleaning everything up, and all those costs will eventually go to the homeowner, but we're gonna have to pay the bill, and we're gonna charge the homeowner, who is a company that does not live in the state, does not live in this country, or does, you know, that the company's not in this country, it's in China. But all we're doing is recovering those costs plus a 15% administrative fee, so we might wanna think about making a lot of improvements to that component of the ordinance. But
Mr. Hendrickson, how would we change that? Would we pass an ordinance in which there's a clear fine and it becomes a lien? Is that what you'd like?
yes. I think there's probably some good ideas with some discussion. Our city attorney, I've never actually talked to Mark about this yet, but I
address
think,
it.
Can you do it?
yeah,
Clearly, you want to lien the property.
yes,
I think we should make it like Birmingham. Birmingham has a minimum amount of money that they charge just to walk onto the property. If we can we change the law so that we don't have to go to court to enforce these things? Can we have penalties and interest?
There's a couple things you can do. What you're using now is a municipal civil infraction, and that's actually a fairly powerful tool. That's what we used on the Pine Gate property. You're able to notify a property owner that there's a violation, there's an issue. If they don't take care of it, a ticket is issued, and then it goes to the court. And if we prevail in court, we can enter a judgment in the district court that gives equitable relief. In other words, we can have a district court order that they bring the property into compliance with our ordinance. If they fail to do that within a reasonable amount of time, the judgment would also provide that the city, if the judge approves the judgment, the city would be able to enter the property and correct the violation. And any costs incurred in correcting that violation, plus a reasonable administrative cost, would be something that we could record a lien on the property on.
Well, that's what we have now, but it sounds like we need to have a minimum landscape requirement. And if they don't meet it, then the city has the right to go on the property, instead of having to go to the court to ask permission, correct?
What I was addressing was the enforcement method, the
That we're using
mechanism.
now, got it.
As far as minimum landscaping requirements, I would have to do a lot more research on that. I'm not sure that's gonna be something that's
Well, I
gonna
think-
fly in Michigan.
To Dave's point, it could be just to protect from erosion and from,
Yes,
I think we can do that.
flooding
Yeah.
and problems like
We
that.
can do that right away, I believe.
But
Yeah,
but
we
is
can-
there a
but
way?
that's not the minimum like Lake
Well,
Forest.
if you say you have to have, you know, 2 bushes every,
We
50
can
feet, or
enforce the
I don't know what you
erosion
say.
ordinance.
Yeah, reading what
There's
I
no problem doing
saw
that.
here, there's really limits on what we can do on matters of taste, effectively. But it's-
I think 36 Pine Gate, although we got there, it just took way too long, to be honest with you. Because we're at the mercy of the court, so to speak. in certain-
right, so we need to take that
So I,
step out for you guys.
Yeah,
Can't we
yeah.
revise the law so that we don't have to go to court, so that if a property isn't being maintained, like this piece of property is owned by China, someone in China, if it's not being maintained, we can go onto the property, we can
That's exactly what
correct the
we're saying.
situation.
Yes.
We can't do it
I don't believe so,
No.
without some type of
without a
court order, yes.
I wonder if Birmingham has something like that. But then, okay, so there's no way then to get more than just what the judge orders? Because, I mean, they could use this as a cheap way to maintain their landscaping from out of state and out of the country. I mean, we're just getting our cost back plus a fee,
Our-
and we all know what it costs in Bloomfield Hills to retain a landscaping company to take care of your property. It's
They
very
gotta-
expensive.
I think,
I would think we would wanna make it something that's painful, that they wouldn't, you know, something that gradually increases, like if we have to go out once, it's this, if we have to go out twice, it's this, every time. And interest on our money, if we're only collecting it on their tax bill, they're using our money for all that period of time. I mean, it just seems like we should have some law that has more teeth in it.
If I may, the ordinance that was enforced on that, you have a requirement for vacant property that's owned by an entity more than, I think it's 30 miles from the location of the property. They are required to hire a property management company to take care of the landscaping. That was the ordinance we cited because they did not have a property management company. So when we went to court, we asked the judge to order them to comply with our ordinance. And when they refused, we had a judgment entered that allowed the city to hire a property management company. Yes, the city gets billed for it, but we put that on the tax liens. And so it's recovered the next year. There is an administrative expense, and I know that particular one was very time consuming. This is kind of a new procedure we were doing in the 48th District Court. I'm hoping it will get smoother and quicker turnaround. I've had success with it in other communities, so I'm hoping we'll get there. But you know, increasing the penalty would be something that you could explore. A municipal civil infraction, there's a lot more latitude with the amount of fine that can be imposed, particularly with like a first, second, and third type of violation. So, yeah, there's some things we could do to make it more painful, I think was the term.
Is it possible that once a judgment is made and it's in favor of the city, then at that point, the judge has spoken, it's acknowledged that there's a problem, and then that would trigger additional charges? We would update our ordinance to say that if a judgment is, you know, if there's a judgment against the property owner, we would then invoke a greater penalty, because I totally agree with Commissioner Buckley's comment that they're probably just happy to have somebody managing this for them. They're not here. We're taking care of it for them at cost plus 15%, which,
Right.
I mean,
That's nothing.
we're doing all the work for them, and that's just not painful enough.
Well,
Plus
to
the court
point of-
costs.
To the point of doing something after the judgment is entered, that's not something we can do. But like I said, we could increase the penalty initially and make it more painful that way. We do have, I've seen one ordinance in another community that assesses a fine on, I think it's a wetland violation, some type of environmental restriction, and it's like a $5,000 fine. So, you know, that's something we could look into.
Okay. Yeah, this isn't supposed to be painful. It's reasonably related to the interference with the police power, safety.
Right.
Not painful.
Compliance is what we're looking for.
Compliance with reasonable behavior, yeah. It's not painful. There's no retribution involved in this. But make it as much as you can, will you, please?
What about how it relates to some of the buildings along Woodward, like the old Denny's? I think we've been very lenient for a very long time.
We'll work it out.
Yes,
It will work out quickly.
yes. I agree, yeah, that one's a little bit, there's, you know, there's some nuances of that, but yes, absolutely.
That's been an embarrassment. For a long time.
He's the guy called.
I had a couple of, I'm the one who brought this up, and, because it's a very sore spot. Dave and I differ on this, but that's okay. So the short answer on this is that we do not give a C of O until a permanent long ground cover must be established by seeding or sodding before a certificate of occupancy. And there are other communities that are the same way. I actually, and I have to say this, this wasn't followed on Falmouth. They moved in June, and not one piece of landscaping was done. In fact, the yard was dirt, the driveway wasn't done, and, you know, I actually had neighbors calling me because the kids were swimming in a pool with no fence around it.
That's incredible.
And so I called Dave on it. Dave went out there, and now our neighborhood gets to look at one of those orange plastic construction fences on the side of the yard. Everybody walks by, and we get to look at it. They don't get to see it at all.
Wait, don't you have to have a permit to have a fence?
Yeah, so if I may, Falmouth, I understand the frustration, you know, it is a nice home in the backyard, the majority of it's all done. And as far as landscaping, they did comply. Matter of fact, they went above and beyond in the approval at the planning commission. They were required to put 23 green giant arborvitaes that are 11, 12 feet tall. They put the homeowner put 42, I counted when I went there, that are 15 feet tall. So that screening was, I think, comply with.
From the neighbors on the hill.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
So that was comply with. I went in the backyard to look at the fence. Most of the fence is done. The orange thing, I agree. Maybe we'll find a better solution for the orange fence for a temporary thing, or maybe that fence is done. I don't know. But they're very close to finishing the pool fence. But the majority of the pool fence was done when I was there. There was a small section that wasn't done. Just kind of, you know, in all fairness, homes in this city can take 2.5, 3 years to build. They put this house together with the stuff, with all the pool and everything in their backyard within 18 months. So they moved pretty fast on it. The temporary C of O, I know what I wrote in there, but temporary, which is wrong. Temporary C of Os in our city, at times we allow people to move in with some of the landscaping not done, but we take a bond. So we took a $50,000 bond from these folks with all the requirements that have to be done. I wish it was done faster. I know it's close to, you know, in the residential neighborhood that you live, but there are some things that are going well there, and there are some things that could be going a little bit faster. But the majority of projects done.
When you bond it, do you have a time limit for them to fulfill the requirements?
So we gave them. So the ordinance says they can have a temporary C of O up to 6 months. We gave them 60 days, which expires the 14th of this month, which expires in 2 or 3 days. I don't know exactly where it's at. Scott is our building official. Do you know exactly where it's at, Scott?
I'm gonna go out there this week and see, but I know they may request a couple of weeks, because they're not probably 100% at that point.
I mean, what are you gonna do, kick them out?
Well, I mean, yeah, we try
That's
to give
the
them a
problem with
short.
letting them move in. If
Yeah.
you don't want
They
to,
lose
yeah.
their bond.
I would agree. Yeah, letting them move in.
But I can see why you do, because, yeah.
You know, people die to move in.
I just don't think you should let them fill the pool if there's no fence around it.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. How did they
I
fill
mean,
a
that's
pool with no
a
fence
safety
around it?
issue.
You're
The
right.
dirt is one thing to look at, but the
You're right.
pool is an issue.
Absolutely, and we've run across pools that the fence isn't done, and the.
You can ask them to drain the pool.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's a safety issue for real.
Yeah.
Or they have to put another kind of fence around it until the real fence comes.
well, I think they should probably have a code compliant fence, whether it's ordinance compliant, but at least code compliant, for protection. So we'll make sure that's done, right, Scott? But I think it should be, the fence for the pool should be done.
When we were out there, they only had 20 or 30 feet to go.
Yeah, I went out there with.
It's going on the side where the orange fence is?
No, that won't be there at all.
Not on the side, it goes up to the house by the sports court.
Okay. Okay, the other thing I just want to take note of is, I realize that you did the cities around us, and I think that's great. However, I would say that, well, our city's a little bit different. I think we're very unique, and I think that, so I looked up a couple of other cities. One of them, I've said before in these meetings, is Indian Wells, California. It's a very prestigious community in the Palm Springs area. And they actually go as far as telling a homeowner, whether it's a new home or an existing home, that if you're going to landscape over 2,500 square feet, you are required to have a drawing by a California licensed landscape architect, and it is reviewed by the Design Review Committee. And that is for existing and non-conforming areas are grandfathered. So if you already own it and you're there, that's fine. But if you're going to change your landscaping, it's over 2,500 square feet. And I liked this wording. They actually used the wording in the ordinance, and they said, all homeowners are responsible for maintaining the city's luxury aesthetics. Is what they said. So they're saying, hey, if you have a home here, you need to have.
That's subjective. So
It's
that's
very
tough to
subjective. It
enforce,
is.
but-
It is.
You can't
Um,
legislate that.
We'll make Mark really
Yeah.
wealthy on
They-
litigation.
They too, yeah. They too have a
You know,
They too have a landscaping rule of 3 plants per 100 square feet minimum for residence landscaping. I also looked at Palm Beach, and I didn't get to go that far into this one, but I did see that all landscaping material has to be installed prior to certificate of occupancy in Palm Beach. So if they build a new house, and it has to be, and they also have 1 tree per 1,250 square feet, a maximum of 15 trees in Palm Beach. So I just want to bring this up. I know there's this whole fine line and subjective and everything, but something that just happened, so the orange fencing is what we look at. I had a person on Martell send me this picture today, and I'll let you guys take a look at this. And then also they have a temporary fence over to the over the side of their house. And, you know, the problem we have is the residents are complaining because they're redoing this house, and they want to put a fence up, but this look like this.
Is that netting in front of another fence?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then they have this temporary fence on the other side, and the homeowners are tired of looking at it. This is Martell, you know.
Is this the one we were just reviewing?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is the one on the
Yeah, this is
planning
the one.
commission. Oh, okay.
It
And
was-
You're taking it all down, though.
It was good, but the point is we had to come in front of a planning commission. We had to have a homeowners complain, write letters, send pictures before a commissioner said, look, you need to take it down, and it needs to be down this week. Like, so what I'm trying to say is, we should be able to have something that we put in these ordinances that residents who are paying taxes do not have to put up with people who are just taking their time, who are putting up temporary fencing, who are just, you know, they're not considerate of their neighbors. This one even goes further with it, but I feel like
Well, you went under construction. You did remodeling, and you had to have a pods thing in front for a while.
yeah.
I mean, everyone has their time frame where they have to do
Right,
something.
right.
There's not
Right.
making the neighbors happy.
But I just think that, and I agree with that,
Your work is on the
but I
other side
think
of
that,
this.
John, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get you something that you can be a little bit more than just walking into a resident and saying, you know, slap their hand and give them $100 fine or whatever. I think that's what the commission is saying, is it's gotta be something that is really gonna hurt or get them motivated to be able to do something, instead of just waiting.
Well, like you were saying, if something is blighted looking, you don't have any teeth to ask them to do anything except cut the lawn, correct?
Yes.
Well, John, I mean, that's, John, how often do we, that is a horrible, green fence is bad. And I was on that property, last week, and it wasn't there, so, you know, it's just a bad look for them at the planning commission meeting, it really was. But, let me ask you, John, do you run across fences that are not per ordinance, and what do you do about that?
Not often. There's a few that, like that one on Martell there, they said they were there last week, it wasn't up. You've had a lot of cars parked in the driveway there, the contractor, so it's not as though we go walking around those sites every day. A lot of the stuff we see is from curbside, had a lot of trucks there, didn't see it. Dave, again, gave me a heads up on that today, but right out there, so an instance like that, I did a knock on the door, obviously, no homeowner home. The contractors who were on site had nothing to do with that, so now I'm in the process of getting a hold of the general contractor to see if they have them take that down. That's for that one, and that was just today at 2:30, probably 3 o'clock.
I guess my question to you is, you feel you're able to, if you're given the complaint, you're one person, so there's no way you can see all these things that happen in the city, but you're one person, most of the time you're getting the complaints from me, but when you get the complaint, are you able to go out there and remedy it, and what percentage of the time do you feel you're able to remedy it?
Definitely can remedy it. I'll bet 90% of the time it's, things are done within a week, maybe 2 weeks maximum, usually 7 days though.
Okay. Is there anything that you see that that could help you in your job?
Like I said, 90% of people go with the flow, literally, you guys, it's somewhat informal at times too, it's not even we have two things, you have a notice of violation, which is a formal letter, an official letter, it's got the city placard on it and everything. What I normally do for property maintenance, it's informal, it's called a violation notice, that is a handwritten notice explaining the violation, what you can do to fix it, and I attach my business card to it, so if you have any questions, call me. It's cell phone and everything, call me anytime. With that, I normally don't even get a call within 3 or 4 days, it's taken care of them. Not even a correspondence or even talking to them. That's if they're not home. I try, if there's a violation, I knock on every door. I'd rather do it face to face and send a letter or a phone call or something. That gets the ball rolling, but 90% of the time, I don't even talk to them and it's taken care of, so.
Okay, but we're talking about it, so it happens, and like you said, a lot of times it's hard for you to see it, but
So,
we're talking about it, so there's,
Yeah.
so it seems like there needs to be some kind of change or resolve.
I think so. I think what could change is what we, really when we have the problems, and it's great that John can solve 90+% of them, but when the real problems occur and we have to go through that court process, I think we gotta find a better answer. And I think Mark and I can work on that and bring something back to you.
okay. Great,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Appreciate that. All right, next item on the agenda, the commission will discuss the traffic control improvement options at Hickory Grove and Lasser.
Thank you, Mayor. Last time I brought this up to the commission, I mean, there was a few questions that was asked of me, so I had a meeting with Oakland County Road Commission. And, you know, I guess I'm sort of just kind of rehashing the information that they provided me, the study that they provided me. But I can just kind of go over my executive summary. The traffic signal at Losser and Hickory Grove is about 30 years old and at the end of its service life. The Road Commission advised that this is the last intersection in the county not updated with left turn lanes and or modern signal technology. The ownership of the intersection, we determined, that was one of the questions that the commission had, who really owns this? And does the township have some responsibility? So the ownership of the intersection is divided between the city and Oakland County.
It's our city in Oakland County. Correct?
Yes, our city.
Not their city.
Yeah, not their city. And by the way, I did actually also talk to Supervisor Mike McCready about this issue, to discuss it with him. You know, I think he's very supportive, but it is our responsibility, you know, replacing it. So the county essentially has the north and west components of the intersection, and we have the south and east sections. That's how it's kind of divided, but replacing the signal is both our responsibility. So this issue was brought up some time ago, and I asked the Road Commission to complete a formal alternatives analysis to provide to the commission, which they did in February of 2026, and in May of 2026, we provided that information to the commission. The Road Commission intends to address the signal within 5 years. One of the questions I asked them is, what if the city doesn't get involved, sort of leave the signal as is, and they believe they're gonna replace it one way or the other within 5 years, because they believe it's a safety issue, just because it's old equipment, it's outdated, it doesn't really act or respond like everything
We
else.
can't ignore this, right?
Right. So, now, the county, recommends, a compact roundabout. The city's estimated share is approximately $259,000. I might be wrong on that, but that's what was in the report, the original report. And both marked pedestrian crossings at the intersection, which is in the township, they lie outside our corporate limits, so I know there's probably some residents here from the township, and it's important that they know that these locations are not within the city of Bloomfield Hills, and they're not the responsibility of the city of Bloomfield. As a matter of fact, when I drove through there, we had previous discussions about our police department and, you know, folks crossing, it kind of, you know, made my heart skip, because, you know, we could be making claims that is not within our jurisdiction. We cannot have our public safety officers work outside of our city limits. It's a liability issue and everything else. So I wanted to make sure that was clear here today. But essentially, the county's asked me, you know, several times, what do you think? What do you think? I'm certainly not trying to pester the commission. I think it's important that we work collaboratively with the county. I do work collaboratively with them on a lot of other issues, and so I have a very good relationship. So out of respect to them, and out of respect to not only our residents, but everybody who drives through there, including the township residents, I think it's just something I wanted to bring back up for, you know, maybe some consideration. And so at the end of my report, I just I essentially provided what I think you can too. So let me see here.
And the report indicated that 80% of the design has already been conducted by the county on the roundabout, and I would hope that we wouldn't have to pay for that, since they did that before. So, I mean, I know it said there would be some added costs we don't know about, but 80% of the design is already done on that. It has much less impact on the neighbors. To me, when we make a decision, we should look at who does this impact the most, and it's the people that live right around there whose property might be impacted. And it said the neighbor, the signalized intersection would require roadway widening, affecting a retaining wall, affecting fencing, 375 feet of sidewalk, 7 driveway approaches and utilities, and 8 full weeks of closure. Whereas the roundabout has none of that. It fits within the existing property, and they said it eliminates the left turn conflicts driving the crash pattern, and it's only 6 weeks of full closure. And then, as you pointed out, we all had concerns about the safety of the pedestrians, particularly the little kids walking to school, but it's not our jurisdiction now, so that doesn't really factor into our decision.
And Losser, and I could not vote for a roundabout unless you gave me assurance that the same type of safety protection was provided here that exists at Middlebelt and Maple, and at Farmington and Maple, with Bernstein's lawsuit. Remember, he sued him about handicap you'll have no ability for handicapped people to cross that street. And I am really worried about this.
The only thing,
May I add to that? May I ask, so is the county willing to pay for crosswalks that light up when someone
Yeah.
pushes the button? And I know they're gonna be raised, but are they willing to stop the traffic when a person is going by? Because we had a whole room of people here, and they weren't our city residents, they were the other city residents. But there's a huge number of people that this affects, and I think we have a moral responsibility for these children's safety. And
I'm looking
the
for
only
the-
way I would approve, and I'm with Alan, is a roundabout. And I love roundabouts driving, but I don't love and don't understand. I would only approve a roundabout if, under the condition that the crosswalks were raised and lit and the traffic had to stop when a person pushed the button and they were going across.
I don't mind if the button only. went
And
off
I would
every-
only approve it if there is a stop sign on Losser between Hickory Grove and Long Lake.
so I can comment on some of the safety features that they're talking about with the roundabout. And you touched on one, is the raised pavement. And that really supposedly really slows the cars down. They also talked about, I was looking for the acronym, but it's essentially a light system where you walk up to the, where you would cross the roundabout area, which is set off from the roundabout. You would push a button and it would be amber lights that light. It wouldn't be red lights, so that, it's signaling drivers from a distance that someone's gonna cross.
That's not sufficient. A yellow light?
What do they
Yeah.
have at- what do they
That's
have
not
at-
sufficient.
What do they have in Farmington and Maple? Our traffic,
I think it's,
Hawk signals.
what's that?
They're called hawk signals, where you walk up to them and they're flashing pedestrians, which, in theory, once they're lit, they're as good as a red light. If you run,
Yeah, that's what we need.
but that's what he's talking about. They're amber flashing big lights, and there's a sign that lights up, this pedestrian crossing.
It's not the Hawk, though.
It's not the hawk.
No.
I think we need,
Hawk is-
I saw it in Atlanta where you push it and they were red in Atlanta. I don't know. I mean, a yellow light to a car means slow down. It
Well-
doesn't
But
mean
with the pedestrian
stop.
flashing, it's the same on a traffic stop, or the same as a traffic control device, it's the same as a red light. You have to, it's the same as the yellow flashing lights for fire trucks. Like, if you run that, it's the equivalent of running a red light. Plus you might get arrested.
One thing I'd like to just comment on in regard to the safety, I think we need to consider also that with a roundabout, the traffic approaching, all traffic has to slow down. So the cars coming to the roundabout are going to be going slower at all times than cars that are just passing through.
They can still hit a child and hurt a child,
Well,
going 25.
What I'm saying though is,
Going 50.
when you've got the green light on a normal intersection that's not a roundabout, you can have cars flying through there at 40 miles an hour, and somebody's trying to cross, and that's where the danger is. With a roundabout, all cars have to
If you have a
slow
stop
down.
light, people have to stop.
I agree that there should be some kind of a light
That's the difference
indicating a
from a
crossing.
roundabout.
The other factor that we should consider is that when crossing a normal intersection, you have to be looking left, you have to be looking right. You have to make sure that everything's clear from both sides. With a roundabout, you only have to look one way. The traffic is only coming from one direction. So it's easier, safer to cross on a roundabout than it is, in my mind, than a normal intersection.
it matters what roundabout you got. If you're talking about, it's not even true at Maple and Losser. I mean, I did the condemnations when they did the acquisition of the corners. And then I think about Greenfield at 13 and a half mile. There's one on Greenfield, the small roundabout, which is something akin to what we're gonna have. There's no real acquisitions. And, it's sort of fun to run over the curb a little bit sometimes. I'm not supposed to admit that. I'm really worried.
I think it's an important thing to consider and to understand that every single car that goes through that roundabout is going to be
Slow
going
down
at a
some.
slow speed. That is not the case with a normal intersection.
Slower speed. At this roundabout, if you drive down Greenfield, you're going at a slower speed, not slow speed. I bet you, if it's 35 miles long.
This is a compact roundabout. You can't go through it at speeds probably greater than what, 20 miles an hour, 15, something like that,
Maybe
if that?
10 to 12 or something. I don't know.
So it's going to slow the cars down, and not only that, it's going to slow down every single car that comes to the intersection.
It doesn't eliminate the chance of them hitting
Well,
their
there's no way
child.
to
And seeing a
eliminate it
child.
completely, but I
And
think
seeing a
it's,
child, that's the problem.
I think it may seem counterintuitive, but I think that after reading this in detail and really understanding how it works, I'm in full support of a roundabout as long as we have indicator lights that indicate that somebody's trying to cross. Because traffic's already gonna be going slowly at that point, and you're just saying, hey, I need to cross, they'll stop, you can cross.
We need to indicate, we need to verify what kind of indicator lights, if we,
Are we paying for these even though, because the crossing is on the township side?
Well, it's the township's obligation,
Well,
isn't it?
I mean, I don't know. how
yeah, it sounds
it's-
like they're splitting it in half, and that, their half has all the cross signals. So they should be paying for those.
It's certainly something I can address, and it's a fair point. I can say that the lights, the way they explain it to me, that they're really, the way the roundabout's gonna be set up, because of the raised pavement, the sight distance for those lights is gonna even be better than what's currently there. So,
What lights are you referring to, please?
so, the amber lights that you push up, so if someone were to cross, let's say, they're on Hickory Grove and they wanna cross on the north side of Hickory Grove, you know, either way, across Losser, there would be a button on each side, you press a button, and they would start flashing. The person, to Commissioner Baxter's point, if you're walking westbound, you would look to your right to see if any cars are coming. If you're walking eastbound, you would look to your left. Look northbound to see if any cars are coming, but you'd only be looking for the one car coming. And if it's wide open.
If you're old enough to be a driver and know that that's the flow of traffic, I mean, a little kid may not.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that the lights should notify a driver, let's say that's driving southbound on Losser, quite a distance away, and then the person crossing can make a determination if they feel it's safe or not. But I'm not, this is not my proposal, I'm just bringing the options, and I will, you know.
Can we ask them to specify what kind of cross signal they would put in? And
Yeah, it is the amber
and
lights. I'll
that
have to
they
find
would
it in
pay
here.
for
It's-
it, and we don't have to pay for it?
That's a fair point, I think, and I think that probably could be taken care of, certainly, that we wouldn't have to pay for the lights, for the crossing of the lights there, that's a fair point. I can certainly talk to them about that. I'm trying to find the acronym of what it,
RRFGs,
yes. So what does that stand for?
couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But they are the push button signalized
Yes.
white lights for pedestrian crossings, just like,
But they're not red, and so they're not, so that's the difference. The red ones, I think were the Hawk.
yeah, but I mean, it's still illegal to cross one of those when they're a pedestrian in a crosswalk, so they act as an enforcement agent, whether they're yellow or red, was my point before.
I beg to differ, but.
Yeah, so,
But I mean, yeah,
those are just less than a hawk signal. A hawk signal would stop all traffic in all directions.
and I think the reason why they don't want that Hawk signal to stop in all directions, because you're defeating the purpose of the actual roundabout. And that's the
Well,
You'd only be
logic
doing
behind
it
it.
like twice in the mornings and nights at school, right? I mean, is that right? Your kids don't,
8 o'clock and for 3 o'clock.
yeah, I'm like,
That's when all the close calls are.
yeah, I would go.
That's where you want, I think you'd wanna have an officer out there from that jurisdiction doing the crossing, in my opinion.
And that would be the township head.
Yeah, I don't know if the chief has any comment on that.
I know that Bloomfield Township is responsible for staffing those 2 crosswalks, and they are doing everything they can to do that. And they are facing significant hurdles to do that for crossing guards.
We like to help. The problem is, from a liability standpoint, I wouldn't want those officers out there.
Yeah.
and I think you can, you know, it's like you can't always have an officer out there, so we need the proper crosswalk in place. You just can't,
But
that's the only way I would ever approve of roundabout. You have the
solution
proper
for that, it
crosswalk.
would be those amber signals for the roundabout component of it, but there are, the most expensive one probably has a signal, you can push the button and, cross, but it essentially would only be for the north side and the west side. But
And the other problem with the roundabout is the flow of traffic would be nonstop on Gloucester. And everybody, all of us coming out of our subdivisions, we can't get out now. So if you add the roundabout,
That's why Commissioner Fisher is asking for the stop sign.
we'd like the stop signs that were removed to be put back.
I think there have been a lot more accidents coming out of our sub than you have records of.
There was, you know, when I first moved here 20 years ago, there was a stop sign, like, for the first 12, 14 years
So
at least.
When they closed the high school, that's when
They-
they took the stop sign.
They
well-
took them out when they were doing the construction on the high school.
Yeah.
Is that when they took them out?
Mhm.
Or, and I
We should have
asked,
put them back.
I
I mean,
know.
Well,
I asked Dave about, remember when they did the high school and they put a light up there? Remember there was a light
Yeah.
there at the high school? And Dave said he doesn't remember or doesn't know who put it in. Somebody put a light up there.
I don't know who put it there, but I do know that the high school and the middle school, the traffic flow, I think, is different, the whole setup. So that could be one component of it, but
A lot less people coming out of the high school driving. There's, you know, they got more buses coming in from the,
Just another thing to consider about adding a stop sign. I mean, if you think about what we're trying to do, we're trying to create a delay so that people can get out of their driveways. And what the roundabout does is essentially that, because the time that it takes to get from where you enter the roundabout to where you exit the roundabout, you're creating a delay. And in fact, that delay is probably longer than what is going to be, in reality, a rolling stop at those stop signs. So I don't know that it's,
it's a roll, I mean, you can't say that people stop at the roundabout. They don't.
I'm not
They
saying
don't
it's-
stop at the roundabout, but they do
I'm
stop at the
talking-
roundabout, but they
I'm
don't
talking
stop
about
at the stop sign.
time that it takes to get through a roundabout, which is creating the delay. It takes time to go
It
through.
slows people down, but it doesn't create, it doesn't change the gap. The guy in front of you is slowing down, you're slowing down, but your cars are consecutively flowing through there.
I don't think the roundabout solves, it doesn't solve the traffic problem on Lasser in front of the middle school.
I would agree.
It doesn't, I mean, you're still gonna have, and you can say it's different between high school and middle school, but I happen to know the PTO president of that middle school, and she's like, every parent drives because they all have extracurricular activities after school or things like that. And they don't, and the bus services now are longer routes than what they were before, so they have to get home early, earlier or whatever. So you have a lot of parents. I mean, she was the first one that admitted to me, she said, yeah, she goes, it's awful in that school, picking up your child. And she said, I cut through the parking lot. I'm not supposed to, but that's what we do.
yeah, I think that the exit at the north end is, from my experience yesterday, the exit at the north end is not attached directly to the parking lot.
Correct. Yes,
And
it is. You're
because
right.
my son took the
Yes.
first two yesterday, we went in a circle, came
Yeah,
out.
it doesn't.
So and those people coming out in the morning at 8 o'clock, that line looks like it's 25, 30 cars deep sometimes, and it's so stressful. And I just stop and let 30 people come out when there's a second there, because it's like, they can't get out otherwise.
No.
But the roundabout, our problems with the roundabout is just beginning, because when they do the work on Woodward, the weight is going to be down to Long Lake Road.
It is.
It's inevitable, because it's almost approaching Hickory Grove now, going out onto Squirrel Lake Road.
That's
You
true.
know, and the way you gotta do this, you go down Hickory to Woodward, then to go north now. That won't be available anymore.
Right.
You know, it's gonna be a long couple of years, no matter what you do.
What are they thinking of doing this? If they did
Not till after they fix Woodward, correct?
yeah, they wouldn't even start it until 2029.
Okay.
So it would be something so this isn't something you have to make a decision about tonight, certainly. And I can always ask more questions. As a matter of fact, I could ask them to come back. Talk to you more if you like.
Can you verify whether or not they will pay for the crosswalks themselves,
I can
and
absolutely do
what
that.
kind of crosswalk they would pay for and to show us, you know, video, pictures.
You do that.
I, you know, and
It might be helpful.
in the meantime, can we put the stop signs back?
I will, you know, I don't know.
I don't know why we're getting so much resistance when there are people on the commission that would like them.
Yeah,
there are
I-
people in the room that would like them, that live, residents want them,
All those parents who pick
all
up
the
their
parents of
kids-
the school want them. What is,
I apologize for any resistance at all. I look to our experts about this, and I do know from being in, a long time ago, being in law enforcement, that you have to have traffic control orders for these things, and you have to have an approval for that. So if you don't have a traffic control order, and I don't know,
It's not legally enforceable.
it's not legally enforceable, and it could be a liability issue.
well, how were these stop signs in place before? They were legally enforceable at one point. Why was that enforcement taken away if they were in place before?
Well, I do know that when I came here as a public safety director in 2013, the whole majority of the city did not have TCOs, and I made that change.
Well, do we have to, I mean, then let's get the process rolling and ask for one and
did.
say we would like one.
Chief,
We
James?
did that. I did the study, I worked with Oakland County, and then just to be very transparent and clear, not to just use my recommendation as the law enforcement official, we asked for an external study from.
I remember they came and they said, oh, it's gonna,
It didn't fit where, it didn't fit under Michigan law to require a stop sign. When those stop signs were there at some point, the officers that worked here laughed and joked about it because they were not legal stop signs. When we went to court, the stop signs that were, when they would write a stop sign violation and they went to court, it got dismissed if someone knew the law to push it, because they were not valid at the time.
I'll
And
take-
so that started.
well,
my
what can we
study.
do to get some stop signs and make them valid? What can we do? What is the best effort? What can we do to change that?
I'll take a step backwards. I'll let them be invalid. What do we do to get a stop sign even if they're not valid?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, they were
That would-
invalid for 12, 15 years,
Yeah,
you
so,
know?
I mean, it worked before that.
Isn't
Mike.
there
So-
a ruling if it's in place for so long, like a path,
No,
like
so,
eminent domain, or not eminent
So-
domain, what's that called?
I remember the
Where
stop
you
signs
use it
there.
so many times.
Non-conforming use.
And I also remember
No.
having our traffic people do all the TCOs across the entire community with Jeff Brumley and other people because you had none. The issue starts to become, you put one in and you know it's unenforceable, so are you gonna write tickets for it? What are you gonna do about it if they roll it or do anything bad? And what happens if you do pull someone over and it's a drunk? Then other charges, you pull them over illegally and now you have these other charges and other things. For what, I guess, I'm concerned from an engineering standpoint, with traffic engineers. Is that the right solution? What are we trying to solve for the right solution? Is this the right solution? I don't think it's the right solution. I think it's a slippery slope. And I have communities that go around and put up stop signs and then they don't pull them all out because they don't get that.
What we're
There's
trying,
life safety too.
what we're trying to solve for here is the traffic on Lassa Road has gotten extremely, I mean, it was bad before, it's extremely heavy traffic, not allowing residents and also the school people to get out. There's no stopping Lassa Road between
It's a very
Long
long,
Lake and
fun
Hickory
road to
Road.
drive and speed on, that a lot of people,
So you want the honest answer? Is center left turn lanes and do a road project to solve that issue with left-hand turns and people coming out, do a road job. Don't do a sign job.
Do a mini roundabout down there by the school and it would help a lot.
No, but the issue is you can't turn left or you're stacked up and people turning left. This is what I heard last time. You're coming southbound, you want to turn left on this stuff, you can't. So you stack traffic up. So put in a left turn lane so someone can turn left. If someone wants to turn left in the school and get them out of traffic, that also produces gaps. But now you're talking about going down that road and making a 3-lane road by every tree that's in that right of way. I mean if the solution is safety, the solution is turning in and out of the subdivision, it's a road change, not a stop sign in my opinion. This is my opinion. And it would be backed up with the TCO.
we just all lived with the stop sign, and it wasn't bad when the stop signs were there, because the stop signs stopped
Traffic
the
is heavy.
traffic flow
The traffic
for
is
1
heavy.
minute, half of, you know,
I think you're,
Why don't we put a?
it worked, so
what about-
it just A plus B, I don't know.
Yeah,
It
what
just-
about a stop, there was a stoplight there before, what did someone do with it?
again, what happened before and the warrants now are not the same thing. We do not have the traffic warrants or the volumes of the turns to do that. I know we feel that way, and believe me, I understand that, and a young kid, teenagers as well. But when we were talking about for me to help give him a TCO, you're there's not a lot you can do. I'm sorry.
But if you knew that we wouldn't approve a roundabout unless there was a stop sign.
I think the two are mutually exclusive, and I think that's.
They're not at all, because if you have a stop light at Hickory Grove and Gloucester instead of a roundabout, then people have to stop and the flow of traffic stops.
At least it's stopped in one direction.
Well, remember, the roundabout, you're assuming that everybody in the roundabout goes southbound. Not everybody goes southbound. A lot of people go straight, a lot of people go north, and a lot of people turn in different directions on that. So what we're really doing is, you're stopping the people from going straight through, but you're not stopping the people from making left turns on southbound either. So I wouldn't be so certain that the roundabout isn't gonna provide a similar amount of gains.
Can I ask, during rush hour, does the eastbound traffic on Hickory Grove exceed the westbound traffic dramatically, or is it because of the left turn?
I don't know, I would have to go back.
Okay, what I'm saying is the traffic coming this way, it's backed up 40, 50 cars. Because people like me are I go to Hickory with the left to come down Gloucester now. I gave up on going north on Gloucester. Is there more traffic really going northbound from the west? Or is it because they can't make a left turn that it backs up so much?
We can get the number, I don't remember the number. It's right here. But I think they,
I think the reality is you're probably gonna get stuck with a roundabout, but it's not gonna help get the people on the east side of Gloucester and north of Hickory to school without help. Yes, sir.
I think we're talking about a couple different things. One of the major concerns that the parents that the meeting members have presented to me was it wasn't straight through traffic, it's turning traffic that is endangering the kids. It's not people going 40 miles an hour, it's people that are going westbound on Hickory Grove, turning right to go north as the kids are crossing. It's not speeding through traffic, it's not through traffic, it's turning traffic. It's turning traffic that's going right, or possibly even.
But if you're coming through on a roundabout, don't you come through and then you turn right?
I'm sorry?
If you're coming west on
If you're
Hickory
going
Grove and
east,
you're
if you
going
wanna go
north,
You turn right. If you're coming west and you wanna go.
Go north.
You turn left. So, and there's also.
no, you take the
vehicles-
first right.
You go around it.
You just said people coming west that want to go north,
As
they're
it is
turning
right
right, and that's what everyone's concerned about. But in a roundabout, wouldn't you still be doing that?
I'm talking about what it is right now. I'm not talking about the roundabout. I'm talking about the dangers that have been presented to us that we've gone to. As a
I'm just
county.
suggesting that same danger would exist with a roundabout.
Yes, and I think we, as parents, agree, a lot of the close calls are when the cars are turning left. Because technically, they're supposed to stop and wait and let pedestrians cross, but they don't. They see a gap and they try to shoot through it.
Absolutely.
So they don't see.
They aren't even looking at what's coming across the
Exactly,
street.
they're only looking
What-
at the.
what we have-
traffic,
what we have
not the
now
crosswalk.
Without a clear left turn light and a walk sign going across Gloucester is violently dangerous.
And it's monkey see, monkey do. If the person behind them sees one car go,
Then they do
then
it.
the next one just keeps going.
Oh,
There's been
right.
several times where the kids can't cross because they see those cars just shooting through. So it's not safe.
So
at
sorry.
all. So
What would you suggest? You don't live in the city. What do you suggest we do?
I would prefer a signal light with like a no, also like a no turn on red.
Mm-hmm.
Because that gives a definite stop time for pedestrians to cross. With the roundabout, although it would be slower, and if they have a button to press and there's lights, that still doesn't mean that traffic is gonna stop side of the street, cause there will be, like medians. So it'll be 2 times on one side that the kids have to cross, and then 2 more times that they have to cross to go south. So that's another point. With the light, is it gonna stop them? Traffic is gonna continue around, but then traffic coming the other way too. So it's gonna be 2 points that the kids have to stop.
Can we ask for other
But we don't have to
from-
make the decision today, do we?
Yeah, we don't.
No, I mean, would you, I could offer the county to come back, and I can certainly find out about your question about who would pay for those lights. I guess there is some information if you, so there's replace the basic lights, probably wouldn't have the things that the folks here recommend. So you'd probably have to have a full-blown light system if you're gonna go to the lights. It would encroach into the property around, and then there's the other, probably really only 2 options really, is that the best light system or the roundabout. But maybe we can bring them back, we can show you some pictures and video or something.
Yeah, maybe we could. Chief, you said you went in and talked to the principal at the school, and they were less than friendly, or?
I wouldn't say that, they just, they were happy with what they had there now.
They were happy with what they got?
The parents aren't.
Have you guys as
As
parents
far
called to
as,
talk
as
to them?
far as,
And
We received similar feedback from the principals for ASI.
as far as
Making 15
on
minutes.
Lasser, the intersections, 2 different things. We addressed the traffic flow that they have established with their, construction company, the way they have their, traffic flow pattern set up for the school drop-off and everything. They are happy with what they have now, with the buses and the parent drop-off. They don't want any more stop signs or anything on Lasser.
I'll tell you one thing, they got it easy, because their buses go off on the other side, and they exit where there's nobody giving them a problem, and they go southbound when they come out of the school.
All the buses get to be
Yeah,
where the
they're-
athletic field is, that
Yeah,
lower,
Right. and
where
it's easy
it's
for them.
past where all the subdivisions come out, it's past where the school parents come out. They have their own little private entrance exit practically, right?
Absolutely, it's.
So that's why the school,
So what?
Is happy
what
with the
we are
situation.
doing is everything we can do. We are doing more than what a typical police department would do or public safety department.
we do appreciate all
So
your
we are doing that.
communication.
And we are going and trying to do things through the end of last school year, when we're all stretched in, but we're doing it. We're also putting up the school speed limit signs. That
yeah, when are those going up?
they're gonna be in, by the end of the month. They're waiting on some, specific coloring for school speed zones. The signage should be picked up, this week and installed by next week, that's what we're hoping.
School speed being 15 miles an hour?
25. You can't
It's already
lower-
25, isn't it?
Yes.
It's 25.
Yeah, no one drives 25 down
Well,
No.
so in last year's budget, we put a traffic monitoring, program together, SDK, urban SDK. And we've been monitoring it. We get weekly, daily, monthly reports on the top 5 roads in Bloomfield Hills that are above 85 percentile in speed. And we deploy our officers out there to take enforcement action. Lasser is not one of those roads. I should say, when it is one of the roads, it's anywhere from 10 to 11 miles an hour over the speed limit. That is the average that we are finding in vehicle speed. When we go out there and we do enforcement action, that is confirmed. We are going out there and we're stopping people for 9, 10, and 11 over.
So 35.
35, 36 is the range.
School signs, even more.
Go ahead,
The
sir.
what the school signs do is they give us double fine. We get more fine on the fine side, it doubles the school
I'm sorry, Amy, should these people give their name and address, please? Could you?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, Andy Hill, 236 Wendy Lane, I'm a township resident. Been attending these for a while. Appreciate you guys continuing to bring it up as a concern for all of us. And Jacqueline and I are trying to stay tight with the group of individuals that have been showing up to these meetings in the past. I would express an interest in trying to go back to the consensus that was in the room back in April or May when there were maybe a dozen families that were rooting for that other option that's not the roundabout, that is the traffic light. If it's gonna take us 3 years to put this in anyway, maybe we just do it right instead of just putting in the lower cost option. I know that, I saw the study, I saw what they were talking about. I think they were thinking more of traffic flow than they were for traffic safety for individuals. And we do say the children for the morning and the afternoon. That is very important. Obviously, children tug at our heartstrings. We have 2 middle schoolers, but there are a lot of residents that just want to ride their bike or go for a walk at that intersection too. And if we think about the general safety of the community and totality, I really truly believe, and all the dozens of families that came here that live in that area, I truly believe that a better just cross light, non-roundabout situation, the option 2 that was provided by ROCC is the better way to go. Just
Can I suggest that you get a petition going
absolutely.
and you present it to your city
Yeah.
and ask them to put some money towards this?
Absolutely happy to. Yeah.
Because it benefits you the most and all of the township the most. And if they would come forward with helping to pay for, to make the cost the same to us, whether we have a roundabout or
Happy to help. Absolutely.
a light, that would make a huge difference. Wouldn't you all agree?
It's a great idea, and so the light is, what, $1 million, right?
2 million, about 1.9
Two.
million.
Yeah, so the
For
problem.
the city ourselves. I thought we paid
Yeah,
half that.
Our challenge.
million for us.
Our challenge
$1
here
million
is,
for us.
we have a $13 million budget.
I get it.
That's
You guys
like,
have a huge budget.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could ask them to pay at least half of it, if you
If there
show
are
the
grants
power
or
of the
things
people.
like that, I mean, we're coming to
That's a
stage,
great
we've got
idea,
time,
too.
We're happy to support it. We don't know government very well though, so if there's any instruction, maybe we can.
I think the best path is you are tax-paying residents in the township and it affects you, and if you could appeal to your city, that'd be terrific.
and I would offer, I mean, any of us would, I'm just mayor by title, but, I would go with the chief and one of you guys and go into that school district and talk to that principal, and I would get them, cause that's, we're all paying taxes for the school district, right? And so they should be able to contribute too. The schools should do something. So if you had us and the county and you had the school, we should probably go to the superintendent.
Sounds like a stretch though, if she doesn't really care.
Well, I'm
It's
just,
a little bit more receptive than.
I was gonna say, you know what, I wouldn't do the principal, I don't know who the superintendent is now, but I would go to the superintendent. And this has to be a collaborative effort on everybody's part to do this. And don't get us wrong, we agree. A light would be a lot better. The 2 million is a little bit heavy for us, but let's try to figure out a way how to get the 2 million. Whether it be done by grant, taxes, the school district, the county, we can look, we'll see what we can do. Does that work?
That's great.
I just wanted to be clear, the principal's reaction and the principal's involvement was for the Losser issue, not the Losser Hickory Grove intersection. They're 2 separate things. I just want to be.
That principal really doesn't understand. She should ask the parents of the students in that school how they feel about it, because I'm convinced that they feel different. You've got to drive that, I drive that street at 7:30 or 8 in the morning, when these cars are backed up, there are all these big things that I couldn't drive, and they're like one after another for their 2 kids or 3 kids. There's no way that those people would accept their principal saying that. If they knew, they'd say they want the kid to go to a different school.
One other just little comment. I know that probably less parents would drive their kids to school if they felt the crosswalk was safer at that intersection.
Well,
So
you're,
it would
Oh,
reduce
that's
traffic a little bit.
That's a good
'Cause
point.
There's a lot of parents who are like, I don't let my kid walk
Yeah,
for that reason.
right. I'm sorry, can you just state your name for Amy?
Yes, Jacqueline Newman. Oh,
Okay. Okay, she knows you, okay. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming. This is a big concern. Lasser's a big concern. We don't have the best, approach of what we want to do. We just know it needs to slow down. We need to manage the traffic and the crosswalk. Absolutely. Okay, anything else? We don't have to make a decision, but we got some,
Would you like me to bring or ask the road commission to come back?
yes, please.
So could we take a look at grants?
Mhm.
I gotta believe there's some type of
Yeah,
safety grant
A safety grant,
We
yeah.
have looked at some, it would be helpful if we knew the direction, and then we could apply.
I don't know if inviting them back right now would help. They would just
No,
tell us the
not
same
yet.
thing. I think if you could find out if they will pay for the crosswalks, the Hawk-like
I
crosswalk,
will do that.
that would help.
Do that. Yep.
for.
I mean, if you think it would help for them to come back, but I don't.
If you look at Claude, I bet you could find some grants for us.
I remember talking to somebody, it's a Safe Routes to School program through Michigan, and they provide big grants if you
Why don't you,
apply and you go for it, and, I mean, it might not be 2 million, but hey, if it's.
you really should have
Those
your,
are about the walks, those aren't about necessarily, so again, it would be, the pedestrian crossings are in the township, so the township would have to apply for the state crossing.
why don't you talk to your township about doing that, applying for the grants?
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
I'll say that you guys are very receptive, and we'll try our best to get it too.
Okay.
You can't even vote for us.
I move across the street.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
I'm hoping they come back in 15 months,
Yeah.
but on Tuesdays, I'll be home. My wife.
Free time.
Thank you very much. Okay, productive anyway. Okay, the next item on the agenda, and apologize to everybody, said, what's this all about? Is to hear an update from Mayor McCarthy, myself, on the Planning Commission ordinance amendment process. So, I wanted to, so everybody's on the same page as far as the moratorium. We started this moratorium, I believe it was in February, correct? And we've extended it, and it's actually due up today. That's when it's due. I know that there's been a lot of questions. What is it? Why did we do it? Was it really worth it? And I wanted to tell you, it's been an interesting process with the Planning Commission, because they actually, in the last 2 meetings, and Commissioner Buckley will say this too, is they've really worked really well about the ordinance. They talked about, we went through half of it, and then this one last meeting we were going through the second half, and everybody is really giving their feedback, and everybody's really paying attention to what the city wants, and what we should be doing. So I know it first started out with office space. Do we really need more office buildings here? I'd probably tell you that nobody on that commission, on the planning commission, thinks we need another office building. I'll just go that far out because we've got other ones. And and so that's one of the things that they've been talking about. We did find out that our vacancy rate for offices, when they did the study, they found out it was 18, 19, and now it's 22% or something. And one of the things that one of the commissioners on the planning commission said, which was Will Hostler, and I really liked it, is he goes, well, part of what this did, this whole moratorium, is it got us to start looking at our city center more closely and what we want. And then he said, I love this, he goes, we have to modernize our approach to a city center area. And I love that word. I was like, that's really, what, so it opened everybody's eyes to what do we want here and what do we want to do. We have all the data from Jill. She's still working with the commission. Because our commissions, we have 5 or 6 items on, we get to the end of this and we don't get it done, unfortunately. But it's really great conversation. So just to give you, I know a couple of you came in later, and I'll tell you why. We're at this parking one, and they want to say, do you want to do it by gross or do you want to do it by net? And there's this philosophy that we don't really want to do bigger buildings, and if you do it by net, it allows for a bigger building to be put on the lot. And they were, there's all these other different reasons. So I did also learn from Mark that we don't need the moratorium to continue to work on the ordinance. The planning commission has their orders, their marching orders. They're going to talk about it at every meeting that we have until it's where we want it. I don't think this is gonna be a long, drawn-out process.
Okay, great.
I think it'll be, I'm just really pleased that how I watched the whole planning commission, or we did, went full circle on this and just really dove into it.
Great.
Great feedback. So what I would like to propose probably is, I'm not sure we still need to extend the moratorium. We've got a direction. We know where we're going. There's a couple things that came out of this. Number one, yeah, we needed to update some of the things in the language in here. Number two is we do need to do a survey, a new survey with our residents, because it's been a while. So we should have that done. Not now, but down.
How do you think we've changed or remedied that concern?
Well, I can give you one answer, is that we have a building that had, was it 160,000 feet, and the Taubman family was keeping their family office there with 20,000 or something in an empty building. We have one person who's buying it and filling the building up. My guess right now, and we have the Kajoyan building, which is now gonna have a second tenant, and there was it, that's 190 or 200,000 feet. They're 50% filled from not zero in the last 6 months. My sense is there is a number of corporate entities that are gonna fill the buildings up here inevitably. I'm not excited about it because I think that there's using some vacant land there could make it its own downtown, but we're not gonna get there now. Those buildings are gonna fill up again. So that tells me that Woodward should not be having any office if we can avoid it, and we should make it zone that change. We're too late to stop it, unless the person who bought the restaurant decides he wants to put it to more than just purely office use, which he can do. And, that'll be his decision. We've only got one other major parcel available, and that's the first store, which is it's just the debacle, what's happened from the beginning there. Someone paid too much money for it, and sometimes you lose money. I mean, as a person who invests, I can tell you lose money a lot. And I think there's one last really nice piece of property. We've got to figure out how to access the 2.5 acres that's south of Long Lake, behind the buildings there, that I always thought was purely floodplain. And I think that, I don't know if Saco owns that office building there. I don't know who owns the office buildings. The two of them right on Long Lake,
Yes.
and behind there's a huge tract of vacant land that we should put some good use to. And we should make it really attractive. I don't care.
That parking lot back there is
Yeah.
full during the day though.
But it's
No,
behind it, there's
the one
another
that they don't,
acreage.
There's another one.
There's another acreage back there. He probably needs access off a Long Lake.
Yeah, there's no access
There's
right
no
now to
access.
that.
Right, and that's the problem. And
There's
it
no
would just,
access.
it'd be, if we had the right access point in there, it would make it attractive for someone with some kind of tax-free bonding or some type of tax break when they develop to do something, because we don't have a downtown. I'm going to leave the meeting without my wife here and without dinner, and I'm in deep trouble. That means I gotta have 2 of those diet ice creams tonight for my dinner. And we have nowhere else to go in this town. And in the morning, you go into a bagel place when other people are going downtown, go to the place on Maple, that nice coffee house there that's off of Maple and Cranbrook, if you've been in there, and they've got the barber shop on the 2nd floor. I mean, that's the kind of use I'd like to see on Woodward Avenue. And we are gonna have to figure out how to do some tax benefits if it's kosher, and if we can get away with it, and do those developments. I'm not unhappy that I pushed for a moratorium, because we really didn't give thought about where we're going with the city here.
Yeah. Side comments? Brad?
Nothing I agree a lot with
If you disagree, tell me.
with what you're
You're
saying.
probably wondering where I am on tax incentives.
I think there's a need for some different uses in the city, and we want to promote that as much as possible. And I think that we can we can get through that, like you said, without the moratorium. The moratorium, no matter what, is just a temporary slowdown or stoppage, and that only lasts for so long. So this process of updating our focus and what we want to see developed in the city is going to take a considerable amount of time, I would think. As you mentioned, it gets done at the end of these meetings, and
Yeah,
it's hard to.
I would agree. I would say though, the only thing I don't agree with on yours is, we've talked about it, but to put another, to put another office building on Woodward, I literally, everybody I say that to drops their head. They just sit there and they just go, ugh. So I think it's time that we modernize the city. I like that word.
Yeah, but I just don't know how you're gonna encourage a coffee shop, or, I mean, I would love that, and I agree with all of you that we need diversity. I'm just not sure. I don't think the moratorium was helping, but we didn't do anything during the moratorium to help that, is my concern.
We gave thought about where we want to go with our city, which we haven't given thought to for 30 years.
Which is very good. I agree.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We just never,
We
it
never
had
thought about
we really needed a shot to the head.
Yeah. So I know the other things, my last comment is, and I'll get into this with another thing, is, it's difficult to change, but sometimes change is good. It's needed in a city. And I just think that this, I'd like us to be a little bit of a commission, planning, zoning, city commission, that we're commissioners that are committed to really changing or looking at our city and seeing what we need.
Adapting.
Yes,
I agree.
adapting.
We need to modernize. I agree.
So with that, do we need a motion to, because moratorium ends today, or just nothing?
Right.
We let it go,
Let
Right.
it expire.
right? Unless anybody has any other feelings. Are you guys okay with that? Okay. All right, thank you for listening to my, and sorry about the vagueness. I didn't know how to put it on the,
Don't worry about it.
I appreciate that.
I didn't know how to put it on the agenda, so I really appreciate that. Okay, next item on the agenda is the commission will hear the city manager comments.
Mayor, I had a couple things. First of all, I'm not sure if anybody's put it on their calendar yet. September 20th is the open house.
Oh, good.
And I know that the chief has wrapped a car in recognition of the country's 250th birthday.
Oh, I love that.
So,
Great.
It's getting done right now, I think.
And we're gonna keep it?
For at least a year, it contains part of the Constitution on it, American flag, 250, the anniversary of our country.
That's great.
I love that. Hats off to that idea.
So I know Commissioner Fisher has wanted some celebration with that, so we're trying to make that happen.
That's great. Great.
Another thing also that Amy and I were talking about is this could be a good opportunity for a newsletter. There's a few items out there that might be interesting to our residents. One is the Woodward closure. We have the Chesterfield Bridge project that's going to be hopefully done in maybe a few weeks, but also we think it's important that the residents understand about the library millage that's going to come up in November. So maybe we might not make it in time for the Chesterfield. It might be done, but certainly the Woodward closure is going to be a point of interest for our residents, and also the library millage.
When does the closure start? Officially, what date? Do they have a date? I know it was after the Dream Cruise, but I didn't.
I don't know. I can find out. I don't.
3 months. When's that start, Lauren? The Woodward closure?
That's what I was asking him.
Oh.
When they're closing Woodward, they said it was after the Dream Cruise, but they
Oh, that's
didn't
right.
give us a
that's
date.
right. They didn't give us a date?
No.
On that? Okay, all right.
Where the equipment is, drive down to Las.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
They let us do it.
Okay,
Oh, good.
Chesterfield's open.
I really do it.
Good.
It's
So-
so cool.
Well, I still
And a newsletter
remember.
about how you like Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Thinking ahead.
How long ago was that, Jamie? I can still remember you bringing, huh?
No way.
We signed it, we put it out, and then we got a grant, and then we had to wait, and
Grant, yeah, it took a while to grant.
it looked,
Telegraph.
it looked nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay, anything else? Dave?
What looks
No.
nice?
Chesterfield, it was
Oh,
open.
great.
I just asked Leo, Leo said it was open to traffic today, so I don't think he needs to come.
We
Okay.
have some concerns of residents, and actually Jamie and I went out last week to talk and with some residents that live right on Chesterfield right there and accommodated them, so I think we're keeping people happy as much as possible.
As much as possible.
Okay, next one is the commission will consider other businesses. I have like 3 on my,
I have one as well.
so do you, go ahead.
I would like to propose that we impose a higher bond for new construction, for any homes being built where the new road chip seal is. And I just want to ask the city if, a couple things like, what is the repair cost? Because we have a bond in place for a hard road, replacement cost. We know what that is, and these huge construction vehicles do not do the same kind of damage that they will do to this chip seal. So, if you could help us find out what the average and maximum repair bill is per house being built, and, if the estimated cost to repair 100 feet to 500 feet, 1 lane of chip sealed road, I mean, it would just be, and then we could come up with this, with the amount of the bond needed. And I don't know, you probably can't get the chip seal repaired and give them the bill and know how much of the bond that you can return to the resident, but it just seems there has to be, other cities do this too. Marine City, Michigan requires cash construction of 5% of the estimated project cost, or $1,000, whichever is greater, to cover the damage resulting from construction activity. Ypsilanti uses essentially the same formula. 5% of the project costs, or $1,000, whichever is greater, which is, if it's a $3 million home, that's a huge bond. I don't think we want to do I don't know.
Yeah, construction
5%.
costs are, What-
Madison Height has a construction bond, 5%. So I think it's something we should put in place before your beautiful new roads are completely trashed by all these.
well,
And-
we do have, so the construction bond is different from the road bond. We do have a road bond, which we charge $10,000 for all asphalt roads. And we actually went through an exercise, there's a house on Canterbury that damaged the road, damaged the chip seal. And Jamie, you can correct me, but interestingly enough, the cost to repair the chip seal is a lot less than the per square foot, a lot less than the asphalt roads. It just is, because the asphalt roads, you have to cut it out and compact it and put it all back. Where this house on one of the roads in Trowbridge subdivision, we had to put asphalt, shore up some of the areas with asphalt because of the heavy trucks, and then we did the chip seal, but we charged them for that. But it didn't end up being, it probably, I think the cost was maybe $7,000-8,000, but we had a $10,000 road bond, so we were fine.
I think you're spot on. I think the difference is, it's hard to find chip sealers, it's easy to find asphalt repair people, so usually we're not the ones doing the work on the asphalt, we're just making sure it gets done, right,
Yeah.
inspected. So as long as everyone's comfortable with the fact that we had to go contract that out, right, for the chip seal? Or did they do it?
Scott, did we, so what happened with that Canterbury house?
I think DPW settled it for the chip seal.
But how did we recoup that cost?
It was out of the road bond.
So we took the money out of the money that we owed them, and it's less usually than, yes.
Well, that's not what, I mean, all these other cities are charging more, they're 25,000, so I'm just suggesting that construction on the recently, completed chip sealed roads be $15,000 to $25,000 instead of, I know you're saying it's less, but that's not counting the whole rest of the road that it goes on and it ruins on its way, and you're not even in the rainy season yet.
That is tough. It was tough with that, talking with that resident too, because
It's not just the
it was
parking
hard
and
to,
the,
you're right, it was just hard to, yeah, he was, this gentleman was, I can't be responsible for all these holes on the different roads and that, but he probably was partially responsible, I just don't.
Just say, just increase it for everybody.
Yeah.
What's
you mean asphalt as well as chip seal?
Look, nothing's, that 10 grand was what, 8 years ago we started that, maybe 6 years ago?
It was interesting when we, this is, not everybody's on the commission, but interestingly enough, I came to the commission to ask for this and ask for a big, and I got pushback that we lower it. Do you remember that, Jamie? So I'm glad that you're seeing it the other way now, because we agree. We would like to be more careful and have that money available. So thank you. And then I think we're just gonna go through different neighborhoods.
So like you have the road map of yellow, red, green kind of thing?
Yeah, we have, yes, where all the signs are and where, he believes that these should be some of the first areas to replace. So I have to, matter of fact, I just talked to Commissioner Baxter about it, to utilize the folks that he was working with, and he, put together the wood sign. So, my plan is to take that as the second step, to start ordering some of these wood signs and replace them.
And then will you replace the green and white signs on Woodward with the black and gold?
Yes,
Oh, good.
yes,
Thank you.
yes. I don't think some residents were asking to have Woodward on there also. I don't think that makes any sense. Because I think they know where they're at, but anyways, so we're just gonna adjust the street name. So, and I have all the particulars, all the approvals. And if you have any recommendations where you see some signs in the neighborhoods, which I think we're gonna replace the signs in the neighborhoods with the wood signs.
Yes.
Tell me what you think should be first or whatever. We have an idea of where we believe we should go. I was just gonna sort of follow what Jamie was recommending. But if you have any recommendations, we'd be happy to do whatever you want.
While we're driving around the city, you can know, I'm, in my head, I'm seeing a couple of them, but I can't think of the name of the road, that were really dilapidated, and
Yeah.
so we'll give you, pass those on, okay?
Yes.
Could you just send us an email of which neighborhoods you're going after at a time?
Yes.
That'd be great, thanks.
Okay, anybody else have any other business, questions? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.